Test one, two, test one, two, test one, two, test one, two. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Let's hold for 30 seconds and then we're going in. Test one, two, test one, two. The levels. I see my levels. Good evening. I am Juanqui and welcome to my world. I'm a cornucopia of stuff, and on this Black History Month, I am coming through live every single night and doing a profile highlighting Black excellence. I just want to give a quick shout out to all those individuals who are out there working hard. If you're feeling drained right now, if the sound of my voice is gracing your drained ears, your pupils are drained, but you're watching this live, shout out to you, because you're drained because you're doing the right thing. Okay, you're working. You are working, and that's all that matters. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today is going to be a quick one. We are learning about Thurgood Marshall. Drop a bomb on that. Supreme Court Justice. I did not know that he was a Supreme Court Justice. Born in 1908. Wow, 1908. 1908. Jesus. And departed in 1993. Thurgood Marshall was a foundational figure in the American Civil Rights Movement and the first African American justice to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court. Okay, so it wasn't Clarence Thomas who has set us back. It wasn't him, it was Thurgood Marshall. Often referred to as Mr. Civil Rights, Marshall dedicated his career to dismantling racial segregation through the legal system. Early life and education. Birth. Born Thurgood Marshall on July 2nd, 1908 in Baltimore, Maryland. Legal inspiration. He was influenced by his father, who took him to court cases to debate the proceedings. Marshall developed an early interest in law. As a high school punishment, he was forced to read the U.S. Constitution, which he began to memorize. Yes. Okay. I see what kind of family we're dealing with. Okay. So as a punishment, he was made to read the U.S. Constitution. Well, when I was forced to read the U.S. Constitution, it was in college and my grade was depending on it. But we see now what kind of family. Good for him. Hold on a second, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all know my band game is on point. We ain't got time. We ain't got time for anything. All right, here we go. Higher education. He graduated from Lincoln University in 1930 after being rejected by the University of Maryland Law School due to its segregation policy. He attended Howard University School of Law, graduating first in his class in 1933. Okay, come through, HBCU. Come through. We're going to be talking about HBCUs in a couple of days. Legal career and landmark cases. Before joining the bench, Marshall was the lead attorney for the NAACP and founded the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund, the LDF. He argued 32 cases before the Supreme Court, winning 29 of them. Wow. Look at that. You know, you see these lawyers in those same steps that you see over there giving press conferences and, the biggest thing for a lawyer is, and I know this because I long for a long line of lawyers and doctors. The biggest thing is arguing in front of the Supreme Court justices. And so he did that 32 times. And out of the 32 times, he won 29 of those arguments. Good for him. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of the landmark cases. Brown versus Board of Education, 1954. His most famous victory, which declared that, quote, separate but equal and, of quote, public schools were unconstitutional. And if you don't get out and vote and you let them, that might be a reality for our children. Okay? Smith versus Albright, 1944. The decision struck down white primaries. It struck down white primaries that disenfranchised black voters in the South. And then his third most famous case was Shelley versus Kramer, 1948, which ruled that courts could not enforce racially restrictive housing. So courts could not enforce racially restrictive housing. So housing based on pretty much segregation, right? Judicial career, U.S. Court of Appeals. He was appointed by President John F. Kennedy in 1961, all right, to be a judge in the U.S. Court of Appeals. Solicitor General. He was appointed by President Lyndon B. Johnson in 1965, becoming the first black person to hold the office. And then finally, the Supreme Court Justice, he was nominated for that, and he served between 1967 and 1991. He was nominated by President Johnson. Marshall served for 24 years. Because as you know, Supreme Court justices are appointed for lifetime. They're lifetime appointees. So unless they decide to retire or they die up there, they'll have a job. And you know man and power. You know man and power, right? They will be fucking being wheeled with the machine next to them, but they'll go up there as long as they remain in power, right? So he served for 24 years. He was a liberal who consistently supported individual rights, such as abortion rights, and opposed the death penalty. Marshall retired in 1991 due to declining health and was succeeded by Justice. Drop a bomb before we even. Just. Y'all know how much I dislike this man. I think he has set black people back so bad, so poorly. And he married a white woman who I've seen her. She looks like she's okay. I'm trying to stay proper and demure in this month, but come through next month and I will be doing a whole roasting session on the embarrassment that it is Clarence Thomas and his pork pussy wife. Okay, pork pussy wife. Now that's my opinion. Okay, that's my opinion. I looked at her on the computer and she reminded me of pork pussy. Drop a bomb on that. That's just my opinion. And last time I checked, we still have that First Amendment, right? Okay, I think she looks like pork pussy in the face, in the husk. Okay. So Marshall was succeeded by embarrassment Clarence Thomas. Marshall died on January 24th, 1993, and he is buried in the Arlington National Cemetery. Okay? I promised you this was going to be a quick one today, a quickie. But nonetheless, a man who really really deserves the name of father of civil rights, shaped what it is to be a person of color, a black man, a black woman in the United States today. The ability to be able to get an apartment or get a home. You know, even though they're still playing games there is a level of protection. Well, they weren't up until number 47. There was the illusion of protections, right? Being able to vote, separate but equal is not equal, so that children could go to school in a multicultural environment. This man had a hand in all of that. I actually did not know that he was the first black Supreme Court justice. I always thought, and I'm so glad to hear that it's not Clarence Thomas. I first learned about Clarence Thomas in college, and I was just disgusted by it. And then as I became more politically involved, I then learned of his pork pussy face wife. And, it come back in March for the reading and dragging of Clarence Thomas. But for now, let's celebrate Mr. Marshall. Thank you. Once again, yet another man who walked so that I can run today. Okay, another man who fought so that you can sit on your couch and ignore the elections because, well, my vote is really not going to count. Or I don't want to have to go three blocks down to the school. I just rather play my PS5 now. Okay, or it's a setup. It's a setup. They can't change nothing. We can't change nothing. We can't change that. Yeah. Okay. Whenever you feel like not voting, even in your local, listen, I vote even for the school board. Drop a bomb on that. Because I heard somebody today, they were having a debate. A very smart man was having a debate with some idiots. Okay. With some idiots. And the smart man was saying how important it is for you to be locally involved with your local, down to like the community board, your local officials, because this is your home. The radius of your blocks, your community. Yes, we have 47 in there, and yes, what 47 does trickles down to us. But for the most part, the day to day, it's your local, where your kids are gonna be going to school. It's your local. Your taxes, how your taxes go up in your zoning. It's your local government. It's your local people. You gotta start with your local people. It's not just voting for the presidency. It starts with your local. You have to be invested and involved at a local, on your block, in your community. Start there. And then it just becomes like you can't stop. You want to continue and be more civically involved. With that said, thank you for stopping by and coming through. I am Juanqui, and welcome to my world. I'm a cornucopia of stuff, honey. And this month, we are celebrating Black excellence. I go live every single night. Make sure that you come through tomorrow for our 19th profile on this Black History Month. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Be safe. Peace.